All right, guys, let's talk about this 1 second. So, there's a property out there in comic books, in the comic space, that to me is the best source of comics out there. From start to finish, it has probably the most richest characters out there. You can make a movie out of maybe majority of their characters. You shouldn't, but you could, and it can work. Not just for the certain character, Wolverine. But we need to talk about this right now because I fear, and I fear for the X Men in the MCU. I fear for the X Men at Marvel Studios. I really do fear it. I fear it because I feel that the X Men will not be treated as such as they were previously. And before anyone comes in the comics section like, when they weren't that good at Fox. Okay, all right, what? You want to count what Last Stand? You want to count Origins? Even Origins is a guilty pleasure. Okay, you want to count the Wolverine? The Wolverine is actually pretty good. So what do you want to count? You want to count Origins? You want to count Last Stand? You want to count Apocalypse? Whew, you even I have my issues with that one too. You want to count Dark Phoenix? That's four, and the New Mutants that don't count because there's no X Men in it. But I understand. So that's four. But you got the X Men, the first one. You got X Men two. You got First Class, which is the best one out of all of them, which is arguably one of the best comic book superhero movies out there. You got Days of Future Past. You got Logan, and you got Deadpool because he's part of that universe, and Deadpool too. So that's seven films compared to 4 or 5, I think. I just said. So you can outweigh it. And yes, Deadpool's part of it too because they got Colossus in there. So I don't really care what anybody says. He's part of that X Men franchise too. So I fear because I feel that Marvel and their wokeness, excuse me, and their agenda driven stuff. I mean, but then again, it can all change after this writer strike is over because again, the writers they did have, they might get rid of. But as of Marvel today, no, I don't trust nobody. The only people I trust with the X Men are the Russo brothers, Christopher Nolan, competent directors that are actually fans of the properties. Russo brothers, I trust. I don't trust nobody from the Marvel camp right now. I don't even trust Kevin Feige because I feel that they're going to push their agenda and political identity politics in there when you don't need to do that because X Men already deals with a politicking type of thing with the mutants versus humans. They kind of deal with diversity because again, it's a group of X-Men characters that all look totally different. They deal with discrimination, racism because it's the mutants versus human. They deal with all that, and it tells a good story with that. I don't need you to put your own identity politics in there, which I feel Marvel Studios will fucking do, and you don't need to do that. I don't need you to tell me we have a power and a power boss woman. You know how many women that are in the X Men that are loved and respected? Jean Grey, when she's not yelling Scott's name. Rogue, Storm, Jubilee, Emma Frost, um, Shadowcat, Kitty Pryde. Um, and those are just to name a few. That's 5 characters. Psylocke, 7. I mean, these characters are well-known, established characters in X Men. When it comes to X Men, people know, of course, it's Wolverine, but they're known for having the most strong woman characters out there, like well-developed woman characters, because the writers knew, hey, this is the selling point. This is the selling point of the X Men. Yes, a couple of times the writer used to sell sex for it a little bit, but it worked. But again, they still weren't like women that was eye candy. These women can hold their own. The only one who got much woman out of the whole show was Scott, because Scott got Emma and he got Jean. Wolverine came in the picture. He got Jean a little bit. Wolverine got a little bit too, but it ain't nothing like Scott. Scott get the woman. Scott always got the woman. But you get what I'm trying to say. There's so many strong woman characters in X-Men that you don't need to be like, oh, well, we need to do it. No, you don't. You don't need to put no agendas. You don't need to do anything. You got your X-Men. Oh, you got X-23 too. So you got a Wolverine female version. So you got all that. But the problem I have with Marvel today is they'll look at X-23 and say, we'll market her better than we market Logan because Logan has already been marketed, even though she's not that marketable without Wolverine. Unless you do the proper spin-off. Unless you telling me that you're doing a sequel to Logan with her character, which you're not going to do, which you should do, then okay. But you're not doing that. What you're doing is what you want to do, and you want to establish your own identity politics, and what you want to establish is your own agenda. I don't want that in my X-Men. Unless it's not from the source material, leave it alone. But I fear that Marvel Studios, if they don't clean house, they are going to do that. And then somebody down there will be like, well, it'll be better off in the Marvel Studios than they'll be with Fox. Not really. Fox had X-23, a movie coming out, done by James Mangold, the same director. Then Deadpool 3. Then they had we're not gonna talk about Gambit. We're not gonna talk about Gambit. But they had these movies planned. Do I think they're all the movies have been successful? No, there gonna be some hits, gonna be some misses. But they have movies planned. Um, but but this is just my opinion. I'm just telling you how I feel, how I'm seeing things, and how the Marvel Studios been handling certain things. So yeah. As always, guys, like, subscribe. Peace. Have a Johnson day. And yes, of course, I had to use the X Men of the '90s in this title. Come on now, there's a best versions, and not only that, I mean literally. Come on. All right, y'all have a Johnson day.